The First Amendment protects 5 fundamental freedoms: religion, speech, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. This means you can practice any religion, or none at all, without government interference. You can speak your mind even if it's critical of the government. The press can report the news without censorship. People can gather peacefully to protest or advocate for change. And if you're unhappy with the government, you have the right to demand action. These freedoms are the cornerstone of American democracy. The Second Amendment. The Second Amendment guarantees the right to bear arms. It was included to ensure citizens could defend themselves and their country, particularly in the context of a well-regulated militia. Today, it's one of the most debated amendments, with discussions about gun control and individual rights often centering around its interpretation. The Third Amendment. The Third Amendment prohibits the government from forcing citizens to house soldiers in peacetime without their consent. This was a direct response to the British Quartering Acts, which required colonists to shelter British troops. While it's rarely invoked today, it remains a symbol of the founders' desire to protect citizens from military overreach. The Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Law enforcement must have a warrant based on probable cause to search your home, car, or personal belongings. This amendment ensures your privacy and limits the government's power to intrude into your life without justification. The Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment is packed with important protections. It ensures due process, meaning the government must follow fair procedures before depriving someone of life, liberty, or property. It protects against self-incrimination, so you can't be forced to testify against yourself, hence the phrase pleading the fifth. It also prohibits double jeopardy, meaning you can't be tried twice for the same crime. Additionally, it requires that private property taken for public use must be compensated, a principle known as eminent domain. The Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment guarantees a fair trial. This includes the right to a speedy and public trial, an impartial jury, the right to know the charges against you, the right to confront witnesses, and the right to legal counsel. These protections ensure that the justice system operates fairly and transparently. The Seventh Amendment. The Seventh Amendment preserves the right to a jury trial in civil cases involving more than $20. While this amount seems small today, the principle remains important. Citizens have the right to have their disputes resolved by a jury of their peers, even in non-criminal matters. The Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment prohibits excessive bail, excessive fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. This amendment ensures that punishments fit the crime and that the justice system doesn't abuse its power. It's often cited in debates about the death penalty and prison conditions. The Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment states that just because certain rights are listed in the Constitution doesn't mean others don't exist. In other words, the absence of a specific right in the Constitution doesn't give the government the authority to deny it. This amendment acknowledges that citizens have inherent rights beyond those explicitly mentioned. The Tenth Amendment. The Tenth Amendment reinforces the principle of federalism. It states that powers not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution are reserved for the states or the people. This amendment ensures a balance of power between the federal government and state governments. The 11th Amendment. The 11th Amendment 1795 limits lawsuits against states. It prevents citizens of one state from suing another state in federal court. This was a response to a Supreme Court case that had allowed such lawsuits, and it aimed to protect states from being sued without their consent. The 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment revised the Electoral College process. After the chaotic election of 1900, which resulted in a tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, this amendment required separate votes for president and vice president. It clarified the process and helped avoid future electoral crises. The 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime. This was a monumental step toward equality and justice, formally ending the institution of slavery in the United States. The 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is one of the most significant amendments. It guarantees equal protection under the law and defines citizenship, stating that anyone born or naturalized in the US is a citizen. It has been pivotal in civil rights cases, ensuring that states cannot infringe on citizens' rights. It also includes the Due Process Clause, which has been used to apply many Bill of Rights protections to the states. The 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment prohibits denying the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It aims to protect the voting rights of African American men, though discriminatory practices like poll taxes and literacy tests later undermined this goal. The 16th Amendment. The 16th Amendment allows Congress to levy on income tax without apportioning it among the states. This amendment made the modern income tax system possible, providing the federal government with a significant source of revenue. The 17th Amendment. The 17th Amendment established the direct election of US senators by popular vote. Previously, senators were chosen by state legislatures. This change gave citizens a more direct role in electing their representatives. The 18th Amendment. The 18th Amendment instituted prohibition banning the manufacture, sale and transportation of alcohol. While it aimed to address social issues related to alcohol abuse, it led to widespread illegal activity and was ultimately repealed by the 21st Amendment. The 19th Amendment. The 19th Amendment granted women the right to vote. This was a major victory for the suffrage movement, which had fought for decades to secure equal voting rights for women. The 20th Amendment. The 20th Amendment changed the start dates of presidential and congressional terms. Known as the Lame Duck Amendment, it moved the start of these terms from March to January, reducing the period between elections and the transfer of power. The 21st Amendment. The 21st Amendment repealed prohibition, ending the 18th Amendment. It remains the only amendment enacted to repeal another, reflecting the failure of prohibition to achieve its goals. The 22nd Amendment. The 22nd Amendment limits presidents to 2 terms in office. This was a response to Franklin Delano Roosevelt's 4-term presidency and aimed to prevent any single individual from holding too much power for too long. The 23rd Amendment. The 23rd Amendment grants Washington, D.C. residents the right to vote in presidential elections. It allocates the district electoral votes equal to the number of the least populous state, ensuring representation in the Electoral College. The 24th Amendment. The 24th Amendment abolished poll taxes, which were used to disenfranchise poor and minority voters. This was a significant step toward ensuring voting rights for all citizens, regardless of economic status. The 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment clarifies presidential succession and procedures for replacing a vice president or handling presidential incapability. It provides a clear process for transferring power if a president is unable to serve. The 26th Amendment. The 26th Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. This change reflected the sentiment that if you are old enough to fight in a war, you are old enough to vote. It was largely influenced by the Vietnam War era. The 27th Amendment. The 27th Amendment prevents Congress from giving itself immediate pay raises. Any increase in the congressional salaries can only take effect after the next election, ensuring that voters have a say in the matter. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it interesting or learned something new, make sure to leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Thanks again, and see you next time.